Hi everyone, I'm Carmen. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be working on a short back bending sequence leading to full Bhekasana. This is a level 3 class, and if you have any questions about how I levelize my classes, please check out the description below with an explanation there. As well, if you have any questions about this class or about yoga in general, go ahead and leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer. Okay, let's get started. Be seated and sit straight and tall. Bring the palms together at the center chest and join me for the sound of Om. Maintain the lift of the chest as you release the head down and surrender there completely. Release the hands with the palms up. Bring the head up with closed eyes. And then gently open the eyes. We're going to start today in Aramuca, Vajrasana, Child's Pose. So bring the big toes together, the knees apart. Before you come forward, sit back on the heels and draw the outer groins downward. So that gives you an anchor to lengthen the side ribs. When you take your arms forward, keep those outer groins down and lengthen the side body to come forward, finally resting the forehead either on the ground or on a blanket or on a brick, whatever's appropriate for your body. Feel the palms spread against the mat and press evenly down through the palm of the hand. Pay special attention to the inner hand so that it presses just as much as the outer. As you press the palms down, feel the forearms remain buoyant, and from time to time, roll the side ribs forward more and more, finding that additional space. Then come on up, turn your toes under and take Aramuca Swarasana, downward facing dog pose. As you begin downward dog, keep in mind those outer groins that you pulled downward previously and pull those outer groins up and back here so that you can bring some attention and weight into the legs. Reach down through the heels. Spread across the mounds of the foot and feel how the kneecaps lift up. Relax through the abdomen so that the reach through the heels helps to draw the tailbone in. And then walk the hands back to the feet. Keep the lift of the knees, the spreading across the mounds of the foot, so that as you hold your elbows and release the body down into a soft Uttanasana, the front thighs remain firm and hold you steady there. Knees over the ankles and hips over the knees. Relax the abdomen, the side waist, the low back. Side body surrendered downward. Change the crossing of your arms. Breathe there into the side body. And then bring the hands back forward on the ground and walk yourself back out into downward facing dog. Now as you do, Maintain the stability that you built in your legs there. So the heels lengthening down, keep the tailbone tethered into the body. And as you lift up through the knees, open the back portion of your upper knees. It can be useful here to hold on to the sides of the mat with your hands, right, so that the chest moves towards the ankles. Feel even how the kidney band moves towards the ankles and the frontal ribs move towards your frontal hips. Then walk your hands back again to Uttanasana. You might even hold the outer ankles, elbows wide to descend the frontal body downward. Keep the legs strong and stable. Once again, come forward with the hands to downward dog. Now, I'm going to ask you to bring your feet together now. Really solidify the two legs as one. Then, with your exhale, rock forward and bring the right knee towards the chest. Come way up onto the mounds of your left foot. And we're going to change sides. So as you bring your left knee now towards the chest, push the floor away and feel how the lower abdomen lifts into the lower back. Change sides again with the right leg coming forward. But as you push the floor away, feel how the lower back lengthens and the tailbone remains in more and more. Change sides again, one more time to the left. Lift and open the low back wide. And then come back into downward facing dog. And then we're going to walk the hands again back to the feet for Uttanasana. Really catch that balance of lift through the legs, but balance through the sole of the foot. Even bring the feet together. Take full Uttanasana, palms of the hands to the ground. Now flow the frontal body down the frontal leg towards the ankles. And then come all the way back up. And we're going to come to the top of the mat. Stand in Tadasana. Really find that anchoring through the heels so the buttock descends. The spreading through the mounds of the foot so that the knees lift. The outer leg firms to the bones and the front thighs are back. Palms into Namaskarasana. Now tailbone in. Reach up. Urdhva Hastasana. Crawl up through the side body, maintaining that work in the legs so the tailbone is deep in the body. Then exhale, come forward for Uttanasana. Now find the legs so the tailbone is in, heel bones down. Inhale, arms forward and up and back into Urdhva Hastasana. Then Namaskarasana, hands together at the chest. Reset again in Tadasana. So this is the time to really draw the mind inward as you begin the physical motion of Surya Namaskars. Palms together, Namaskarasana, then reach up with your inhale. Now work the legs so the tailbone is deeply in, and exhale, come forward, Uttanasana. Again, keep that strength in the legs. Inhale, forward and up, Urdhva Hastasana, and hands together to Namaskarasana. Again, Urdhva Hastasana, exhale, Uttanasana. Urdhva Hastasana, Namaskarasana, hands together at the chest. Keep the legs stable. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, exhale, Uttanasana. Back to Urdhva Hastasana, go to Uttanasana. Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana, Urdhva Hastasana, palms together, Namaskarasana. So feel how that stability of the legs and the tailbone working together keep you stable. Back in Tadasana. Now Namaskarasana. Urdhva Hastasana, exhale, Uttanasana. Put the palms down, keep the tailbone in, and hop, downward dog. So when the pelvis, the tailbone, and the legs work in that way together, feel how the body is stable. Now, bend the knees, and with your exhale, jump Uttanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, and palms together in Namaskarasana. Now again, with your inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Bend the knees and jump, Aramuca Svanasana, downward dog. Lift through the knees, reach through the heels. Keep the palms down, forearms up, and jump, Uttanasana. Heels down, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, and Namaskarasana. Again, arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Bend the knees, jump, Aramuca Svanasana. Finding that fluidity there and the strength that comes in downward dog. Then bend the knees and jump, Uttanasana. Heels down, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, and hands together, Namaskarasana. Again, up with the arms, exhale, Uttanasana. Jump, Aramuca Svanasana. Keeping the arms stable, forearms buoyant away from the ground. Then jump, Uttanasana. Heels down, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, Namaskarasana. Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana, bend the knees, jump, Aramuca Svanasana. Jump, Uttanasana. 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 Jump, Aramuca Svanasana. Find your breath. In and out through the nose. Then Chaturanga Dandasana, tailbone deeply in, and downward dog. And Chaturanga. Press the thighs back, downward dog. Now Chaturanga, buttock to the heels, just like Tadasana. Now downward dog, thigh bones back. Keep those heels reaching down. Now jump Uttanasana, heels down. Urdhva Hastasana, arms up and back to Namaskarasana. Tadasana. Find the breath. Find that stability that comes from the legs. Hands together, arms up. Uttanasana. Jump Chaturanga Dandasana. Buttock flows to the heels. Lift through the knees. Now get ready. Chaturanga. Now Chaturanga 2. Come forward on the toenails, then back with the heels. 1 is heels back. 2 is on the toenails. Push the heels back. Pull the chest forward. Heels back. Chest forward. Then downward dog. Now bring your feet just a little bit closer. Keep the heels back. Come onto the mounds of the foot and upward dog on the mounds of the foot. Heels back, knees straight, thighs lifted, tailbone down. Pull up from the abdomen to the chest. Make the legs strong. Then thighs back. Reach through the heels. Thighs back. Heels down. Now tailbone in. Bring the hips forward. Tailbone straight down. Lift through the kneecaps so the thighs are pressed to the ceiling. Heels back, chest forward. Lift from the abdomen to the chest. So it's not a full upward dog. Now go on back to downward dog. But it's a type of upward dog that helps your tailbone move inward. So now one more time. Keep the toes tucked. Heels push back. Thighs up, tailbone down. Lengthen from behind the abdomen to the front chest. And then downward dog again. Chaturanga. Now full upward dog. Go on top of the foot, keep the knees lifted, chest up, and downward facing dog. Legs strong. Again, Chaturanga, go over the toes, Chaturanga 2 to upward dog. And then turn the toes, downward dog. Jump, Uttanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, and hands together, Namaskarasana. And now we're going to take just one full Surya Namaskar. Bring your palms together, keep the heels down, tailbone in, inhale, lift and lengthen upward. And exhale, bend forward, Uttanasana. Bend the knees. Now we're going right into Chaturanga. Chest forward, heels back. Go over the toes, upward dog. And then exhale, Aramuca Svanasana. Find the legs here, the tailbone in. And we're going to go right through Chaturanga and onto the ground. So again, chest forward, heels back, tailbone in. And come right onto the ground. And then rest there for a moment. You can bring your forehead down. You can even rest your head on your hands if you like. And then once you've recuperated there a little bit, come up to hands and knees. Come on up and get a blanket and get 2 bricks. And we're going to come back to the mat, open the blanket up, place it so that it's just halfway open, so that there's some mat showing behind you and you're just supporting yourself on that blanket underneath your feet and your knees. And then come to the crown of the head, pull the calf flesh away from your knees and out, and sit in Virasana. Lengthen the buttock towards the back of the knees so you're fully on the buttock bones. Let the hands rest on the frontal thighs. You might even pull the toes back like I'm doing here. Kind of helps the front of your foot to open up. Pull one toe and then the next toe from the big to the small. And be particular about setting the buttock down, right? So you're really getting the flesh of the buttock to descend out of the back, lower back and waist. Let the hands rest. Then bring the hands together and press the palms forward for Parigasana. Inhale, lift the arms up so that you lift the back ribs out of the back waist. And keep the buttock down. Shoulder blades should press onto the back here. And then change sides. So arms squeeze to straight, triceps in, press the shoulder blades into the back as the arms pull straight up. And then release. Gomukhasana arms. Bring the left arm behind, right arm up and over. And the same sort of action. You can even feel if you press the shin bones down just a little bit, the pelvic floor rises up to that space behind your chest. And go for the second side. Right. Left upper arm lifting straight up, just like it did in Parigasana. Find the lift from the base of the pelvic floor to the center chest. And then release the arms and take Parigasana again. So you really stamp those shoulder blades deeply into the back. Change sides. Good. Then we're going to take those 2 bricks. You see I'm going to take one brick and turn it on the flat height behind me. We're getting ready to take supported Parigasana. So the one brick's on flat, the other brick's on medium. And I want to place my shoulder blades right on those 2 bricks. So I walk the shoulder blades down the back. I hold the elbows and draw the elbows overhead. But now the work is thigh bones descending to catch that coiling in the middle upper back, which is what the bricks are there to help you understand. Hold the elbows and take them up and over, outer upper arms turning to the ceiling. Make length in the outer armpit. You can see I'm rearranging the bricks. You know, you've got to get them correct for your body. Try and try again. You know. Thighs down. Lift from behind the sternum to broaden across the chest, right there beneath the collarbones. You might use the hands to turn the upper arms one at a time, like you see me doing here on screen. Breathe through the nose. And then hands to the floor behind the hips. Press the floor away and inhale, come on up. So now we're going to get rid of the bricks and take full Parigasana. So you see I kind of pull my heels so I get the chest to lift again. Elbows down, chest up, head back. Press the elbows to get that coiling in the upper back. And then you can again grab your elbows and pull them overhead. Thigh bones down, coil the middle upper back in and up. Then lie all the way back into Supta Virasana. So you want to lengthen the back ribs out of the back waist, but at the same time, lengthen the frontal thighs forward and down. And again, thigh bones down so you catch the lift behind the sternum. And reach the arms. Go for length there in your side body. Neck relaxed. And you know, if doing this on the ground is not doable or comfortable for your body, just get a bolster out and do with a bolster behind your back. If you are using a bolster, hold your elbows rather than straightening your arms, okay? You can adjust and readjust. You see, I lift my knees and flow the buttock away from my lower back. So I work to lengthen the lower back when I'm doing that. Then when I catch that length, I can lengthen the thighs forward and down again. All right, then as you're ready, come on up. Come to hands and knees. Just move your blanket aside a little bit there. And take downward dog to release that effort in the body. Gradually but clearly go back to those strong legs so the tailbone is in. Now at this point, you can go ahead and remove that blanket and just set it aside. Be in downward dog. And then we're going to come forward through Chaturanga and onto the abdomen again. Rest. In just a few moments, we're going to begin Shalabhasana. So take your time here to lengthen the front thighs back one at a time. Spread through the mounds of the foot so the top of the foot broadens against the ground and the big toes pull back and the tailbone is anchored in. Now keep the head on the ground. Bring your hands behind your back and begin to hook your thumbs. Roll the shoulders up and back, and then with your inhale, lift the head and the chest up. Pull the arms back towards your heels, hands away from the body. And change the crossing of the thumbs, and again, lift and lengthen the frontal body up, and then rest and come down. Again, thighs back, tailbone in, low back long. So the more the tailbone is in, the less strain that comes to your lower back. Instead, open the frontal chest so that armpit chest moves forward and up. Come up again. Change the crossing of your thumbs and continue that effort to lift. And lengthen forward and come down. Now we're going to bring the hands behind the head, interlock your fingers, lift the elbows. And now same thing, feet are down, knees lifted, tailbone in, lift from your elbows and come up. Shoulder blades, pin them onto the back. And then come down and change the crossing of your fingers. Again, elbows up. From the corner of your elbow, trace to the bottom of the shoulder blade tips. Then inhale, come up and drive those shoulder blades in, neck relaxed. And then come down. Come up onto the forearms. And with your hands and forearms down, pull the chest forward. Then palms down, turn your toes, heels back, hands push forward, lift the body up, Chaturanga. And come down again. Again, palms down. pull with the hands and the forearms to drag the frontal body forward, as if the pubic plate were being dragged forward between your hands. Now, press the hands, let those elbows lift a little to coil that upper back in and up again, right? Just like you did in Parigasana. Coil that middle upper back in and lift the chest to come up for Bhujangasana. Then come down for Bhekasana. So your right hand's going to reach back and hold your right foot from the inner arch. Then lift your right elbow to the ceiling, turn the hand on the top of the foot, and press that foot down. The heel of your right hand presses down and slightly forward, similar to Chaturanga. So now other side. All right, your left arm's going to reach back and hold your inner left arch, right forearm on the ground. Bend your left arm to the ceiling, your elbow to the ceiling, turn the hand, and push the heel of the left hand down and forward. Then release that side. Again, Chaturanga, hands press down and forward, heels press back, lift the body up, Chaturanga, and then come on down. Now you can see that I've come up on my forearms again a little bit, and that's to drag my frontal body away from my thighs and pelvis. So essentially the thighs are being pulled to my feet and the abdomen is being pulled forward from the pubic plate forward, and I lengthen up. So it's a bit of a Bhujangasana there. But I'm just doing that to prepare for another Bhekasana. So I'm going back to my right side. So grab onto your inner right foot. Press your left forearm down so the chest works to turn forward. Then right elbow lifts way to the ceiling. Turn that right hand so the fingers and toes point in the same direction. Heel of the hand presses down and forward and lift the armpit chest. Then release that side. So to get ready for the second side, lengthen the frontal body. Catch hold with your left hand to your inner left foot. Now I'm going to show you a little bit closer here to get a better idea of what that left arm and hand does at your foot. So the elbow lifts up towards the ceiling. You turn between the thumb and the index finger, and the fingers point in the same direction of the toes. Press the heel of the hand down and forward to lift the front chest. Then you release. Rest for a moment. Get that length back into the lower back so the tailbone can be in. Now, Uttanasana. Hold the outer ankles. Now, push the heels to the ceiling as you press your shins back. Then lift through the mounds of the foot so the thighs come off the ground. Lift through the thighs and balance on the abdomen. And then release and come down. Now, we're going to go back to the Bhekasana. But before we do, Chaturanga Dandasana. So heels back, buttock to the heels, tailbone in. Hands down and forward so the shoulders lift, and exhale, come up, Chaturanga Dandasana. Then just come right on back down. So feel how that arm action is so similar to that Bhekasana that we've been doing. So now Bhekasana again, but the left hand is in Chaturanga. So by the time you turn your right hand, both hands are doing very similar actions. Right? And then to the second side. So keep that right hand in that Chaturanga action. Lift the left leg and get that left hand so that when the left elbow bends and the hand presses down and forward, both hands are doing very similar actions to get the upper back to coil in and up. All right, and then release and rest down for a few moments. Let the forehead rest. Now, Uttanasana again. Hold the outer ankles and inhale, lift up, heels press up first so the shins press back. Then mounds of the foot rise up and the thighs lift away from the ground. Balance there on the abdomen and release and come on down. Now, as you can see, I'm going to get up here and get a brick and bring it back to my mat, and you should do that too. In fact, for just a moment, watch what I'm going to do here. Don't worry, it's going to be repeated, and this one's for you to see, so please just watch. I'm putting my chin on top of that brick. far enough forward so my chest can pull forward, you see? Then I'm going to bend both knees and grab both inner arches so my thumbs are pointing up. And I'm taking Bhekasana on both sides. Both arms turn. I press the heel of the hand and the chin floats a moment. Catch that little lift and then release. And then I'm going to flip the brick onto the lower height and do the same thing, mostly because it gives me the ability to lift higher. Once that brick's on tall, it's hard to lift off of it, but it gives you a good example of where to go. But you see, now I lift. So now we're going to do that together. So get your brick and place it on tall. Lengthen the front thighs back so the tailbone's in. Very critical, right? And bend the knees and reach the arms back with your chin there lifted on that brick. Hold the inner feet. Get the breath to move into the side body so that it lifts beneath the armpit chest. Bend the elbows. Then lengthen through your front thighs to the knees. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. Okay, so that's going to happen again. You can turn the brick on low. So again, once you bend your knees and you hold with the arms and you start to get that Virasana leg, right? Lengthen from the front thighs to the frontal knees. Coil the chest up and lift. Okay, then set that aside. Rest for a moment. Uttanasana. Hold your outer ankles and now lift from there. Thighs up. Mounds of the big toes lift. Go up. Thighs clear the ground. And then come on down. Forehead can come down. Chaturanga, Tadasana. Come down. Rest. Breathe. Get that pinning of the tailbone. Bend both knees. Come on, Bhekasana. Full pose again. Bend the elbows. Lengthen your front thighs back. Bend the elbows and coil the upper back in. So just kind of touch that there. So you start to build that pathway, right? Notice how every time I'm trying to lengthen my frontal body forward. And now you can come on back into Aramuca Svanasana, downward facing dog. And then bend the knees and jump the legs to Vajrasana. The toes touch down first, then the knees. Sit back on your heels. Then come up onto the knees and get ready for Parigasana. So hands to the waist, reach back through the toes, spread the mounds of the foot so the top of the foot presses well down, ankles well down so the tailbone is in. Then you're going to bring the right leg out to the side first. Sorry, that's my right leg, so I'm not mirroring you. Press the left shin down so the left frontal thigh opens. Turn the palms to the ceiling. And now bring the left arm up, the right hand down to the leg. Press that left shin bone, tailbone in, but now lengthen the right hand down towards the right ankle. Left arm overhead, very similar to Padmasana. Then keep that left shin bone down and take the top hand to the bottom hand, touch, and inhale all the way back up. Both feet back to center. Bring your left leg out to the left. So you want to turn your foot enough so that the sole of the foot comes down. Reach the arms to the sides. Now turn the palms to the ceiling to get that armpit chest lifted again, right? The upper back still coils. Press the right shin bone down, tailbone in. Then begin to reach that right arm overhead. The tricep turns towards the nose. You look under the arm. Keep that left hand pressing the left leg so that you get the left side body long and hugged in. Then the right hand touches the left hand and inhale, up you come. Come back to center. Have a seat. Vajrasana, rest. And we're coming up again, same thing again. So reach back through the big toes, press into the feet and the ankles so that the tailbone's in, frontal groins are open. Right leg out to the side, right? Left hip right over the left leg. Reach the arms wide so that the sternum, the collarbones, the arms are all parallel to the wall you face. And then reach the arms out over that right leg. Left shin bone still very well anchored, so the tailbone is in, but it does change and transform. The effort remains, but you have to allow for that transformation as the top hand touches the bottom hand. Then inhale, come up. Go to the second side. Keep that armpit chest lifted and broadened. Left leg comes out to the left. Keep your right hip over the right knee. Frontal groin on the right open. Frontal hip bones rising towards the front chest. Turn the palms to face the ceiling and keep that front chest lifted and broad. Then arms up and out over that left leg. Keep that awareness in the right leg. So it's that dividing of your awareness. So the anchor remains, but the freedom can also come to the spine. Touch palm to palm, then inhale all the way back up and sit back again in Vajrasana. Keep the frontal thigh bones descending, outer groins down as the armpit chest is lifted and broad. Then press the shin bones and lift the hips up, keeping the tailbone in. Feet hips distance apart. Press the shin bones down for Uttanasana. Roll the corners of the shoulders towards the elbows to lift the chest and bring the hands onto the hamstrings of the back of your legs. Press the shins, lift the chest, frontal groins open, tailbone in, and then hands can come to the heels. Keep shin bones, ankles pressing down and the tailbone in. Then inhale, come on up. Sit back again in Vajrasana. So I'm turning to the side here so you can take a little bit more of a better look at what's going on. So as you're ready to come up, shin bones down, tailbone in, lift up. That should be one continuous movement. Then hands to the top of the buttock, press the buttock flesh down as you crawl the side ribs up. Hands to the back of the legs, broaden across the collarbones, and now ankles, press them down. Heel bones down as you lift the chest. The back of the head flows back in relationship to the spine. When the hands come to the feet, you can bring even the palm of the hand down, but press the tailbone forward and lift the chest up to go back. You can take the chest towards your gaze here. Then inhale, come on up. Sit back on the heels. Again, find the length in the lower back, but the spread and the lift of the chest. Then come up, let's go again. So when you get that lift through the center body, tailbone in, and the frontal spine lengthening to the chest, feel even how the upper palate rises up. And then walk the fingertips down the back of the legs. Search for that crease at the back of your knees as you lift up. And when the hands come to the feet, keep that lift in the tailbone. Come on up, rest again. Prepare again for Uttanasana, Camel Pose. Shin bones down, tailbone in, come on up. So with the hands at the top of the buttock, press the buttock down, roll the corners of the shoulders to the elbows, so that again, as you press the shins, the ankles down, the frontal groin is open, the tailbone is in, and then coil into the upper back so that the front chest, armpit chest, broadens. And when the hands come back to the feet, think of turning the inner elbows to look at each other. When they do that, turn the inner elbows to face each other and broaden across the armpit chest. Then inhale, come up, sit back, low back long. So last time here for Camel Pose. As you're ready now, shin bones down, inhale, come on up. The more comfortable you get with this pose, the closer you can bring your feet and your knees. So they can come all the way together for the final version of the pose. So if that's feeling comfortable to you, go ahead and do that. The lift inside becomes more centralized the closer the legs are, more poignant actually. So that when you bring the hands to the heels, there's a real attachment there as the tailbone presses inward or forward. And the lift can become more substantial across the front body. Go on now, inhale and come all the way back up. Have a seat. And rest. So come on up now and come over to your computer screen and take a look at what I'm going to do here for a moment, and then you're going to do it with me. But really, please watch me first. I'm going to do some simple drop backs to the wall. And you can see that I've arranged my Tadasana here. So it's very leg oriented. Heel bones are down, tailbone is in, outer hips firm, so that the frontal groin is lifted and the frontal body is long. That's of primary concern. Then I roll the shoulders to the elbows, so as the heels press, I get that rebounded action behind my sternum to lift and broaden the collarbones. Then the head flows back along with the flow of the spine. I keep the heels down. In the last minute, I give a little bend to the knees to take my fingertips to the wall. So there's a real timing or a real rhythm to this work. And primarily, you've got to get the heel bones down, the knees lifted, and the front thighs pressing back so the tailbone's strong and in. Then you get to crawl up, and it's about catching that energy inside the body. And so the other part of the timing is the reach of the arms, and then just a quick bend, tiny bend in the knee, and that's what takes you back. So all of those things have to happen in rhythm, in order, so you keep that pranic lift inside the body. So that action of prana, of primary concern now. Last little bit, watch, and then we're going to do all together, quick bend, boom, wall, and then just push off the wall and come back up. So get ready now, we're going to do that all together. Stand in Tadasana a little more than an arm's distance from the wall. You can adjust that as we go. Heels down, knees lifted, outer hips firm, tailbone in, so that the frontal groin opens, and you can start to catch that lift now right up the frontal spine and behind the sternum, which means the back body is also firming in. Now, roll the shoulders to the elbows, heels down, catch the lift now in the center chest. Then the palms come together and lift the center chest up to the ceiling. Think of getting longer and longer. And then the arms reach longer and longer, bend the knees, touch the wall, and come on up. Do a few more of those on your own. I'm just going to keep doing. You can look at the screen for reference. But first and foremost, heels down, rebound that prana up towards that space behind the sternum. Then you feel that you have the energy inside of you to carry you through that little drop back. And then you just press right off the wall and spring back up. Keeping the tailbone in is what keeps your low back safe. So, when in doubt, stronger legs. You can have the feet a tiny bit wider than hips distance here, that's no problem, but do keep the feet looking forward, just like any back bend where your feet are on the floor, right? So as you continue to work there, consider in your preparation time here, where you're working to build that lift behind the chest, what your arms and hands are doing. So initially the shoulders roll to the elbows, but then crawl the fingertips down the back of the legs towards that space behind your knees, just like you did in Uttanasana. Use that. It's like the tightening of a bow, so that when you get to the point where the hands come together, right, you've got that deeper grip in the back body. So begin to complete the last one or two of these little mini drop backs to the wall. And once you feel like you've completed, right, your fill of those, just be in Tadasana for a few moments, that really strong Tadasana, so you still feel that pranic lift inside, filling you up all the way to the top of the armpit chest, keeping the side body broad. So be there in that Tadasana, completing Tadasana all the way up the body, so you can feel the upper palate rise. You can feel the ears in line with the shoulders, in line with the hips, in line with the ankles. Breathe into the side body. Feel how the upper arm bones turn out, but at the same time, feel how the forearms and the tender skin of the forearms turns to face the body along with the palms of the hands, so that slowly and steadily you straighten the arms, taking the shoulder blades down the back. Begin to feel how the consciousness comes back to center. How the breath establishes again that strong stability from inside. And then get a chair and a brick and bring it back to your practice space. As you can see here, I've turned to the right so that my right hip and right shoulder face the backrest. I've turned the brick on tall and placed it between my upper groins. Feet hips distance on the ground, heels down, so that the buttock flesh again descends, and I breathe into the side body to lift into the armpit chest. So get ready now for chair twist. Breathe into the side body. And then you're going to take the hands onto either side of the backrest and pull down initially. Keep the heels and the hips stable. Lift through the side body, push with the right hand, pull with the left hand, and turn the body to the right. And then release back to center, and of course we're going to go over to the other side. So make sure your outer left hip touches the outer edge of that chair backrest. As well, your outer left knee will be right there next to the backrest as well. So you have that clear line, buttock down, heel bones down. Then hands to the backrest, pull down to keep that lift in the side body. And as you exhale, push with the left hand, pull with the right hand. Keep the heels down, keep the hips even. That brick will help tremendously. And turn. Then come back to center. Now we're going to do the same thing again. I'm turning around here on the screen so that you can see me a little bit more clearly, if that helps you at all. I'm arranging the same way. I'm going to my right. So go back to your right side as well. You can see my hip is touching the backrest, so that keeps the pelvis stable. And then again, hands to the backrest. Lift the side body. When you push with that right hand, see how the right shoulder rolls back to the right elbow, similar to what we did earlier. When you pull with the left hand, your thick back left ribs flow towards the left elbow. Come back to center and change sides. Again, when you begin to hold the backrest of the chair, you want to feel a slight pulling down action to help the side body lift. Now, we're turning to the left, so the left shoulder to the elbow, pull with the right hand. Those thick back right ribs flow towards the right elbow with your exhale to get that movement. Now, one more time to the right. Again, I'm moving around again so that you can see the back body again and possibly observe those back ribs. Become stable first so the low back's long. Hold the backrest and then push, pull, and turn to the right. Those thick back left ribs have to move. At the same time, your right frontal ribs flow to the right. The left back ribs flow to the left. Change sides. Now we're going to the left. As you get ready now, hold the rest of the chair. Turn to the left so your left frontal ribs flow slightly left as your right back ribs flow to the right. Use that touch of the skin and turn. Then when you come out of that pose, we're going to do another twist, but slightly different. You see how now my knees are sort of framing that corner of the chair. So it's a stronger twist through the shoulders. So first to the right and then to the left. Do that one last time. I'm showing here on the screen from the back. So on the back you can see the tailbone is right against that backrest of the chair. So the pelvis is stable in that way now. But it's a deeper hook of that back arm to turn, which lifts that front chest a little more. Go to the left. Lift and turn. Hook that left hand way back there on the backrest. Pull with the right hand and turn to your left. And then come on back to center. So if you get just one of those deeper twists in, that's plenty. Go ahead and turn your chair around like I'm doing now and face the computer screen if you can. Hook your heels, or take your heels just a little wider than the front legs, buttock all the way back to the back of the seat and hands down to the floor. Feel that you press your heels to anchor the outer hips down and walk the hands forward now. We're taking a seated Malasana. So you want to walk the hands forward and get as much length through your side body as you can. And then you walk the hands back beneath the chair. So I'm turning to the side so you can see again. So you might not even be in the pose yet, that's fine, just watch. Walk the hands. Look how I roll the side ribs forward, kind of similar to a child's pose. And then once I get that length, I reach back and I hold that back rung of the chair. Whether you make it to the rung or not, it's not all that important. But once you find that depth there for you, press the inner heels down, breathe into the side body, and relax the abdomen so that you can make that length in the sides and also in the back waist to relieve any of that back bending effort. And again, I'm just turning around. We're not done with that just yet. You can transition and do again and again, or you can stay and hold. Keep those inner heels down, abdomen relaxed, neck soft, the head just hangs. Side waist, long, low back wide. Breathe. Observe that energetic shift of the body and of the mind. Let the mind cool here. Let the neck cool here. And feel how the consciousness flows back into the center of you. And then with your hands to the knees, inhale. Come on back up. And we're going to put the chair away. Now we're going to do this last pose in one of two ways, and this is going to be a setup for your Shavasana. Now I'm offering two different ways because it's going to depend on the amount of props you have and what props you have. And if you don't have enough props for this, you'll just lie flat in Shavasana, and that's just fine. But this pose is called Bhekasana. So it's named after a god named Bhishma, right? And he's the one who lay over a bed of nails and had peace there. So you'll see that the body kind of gets supported like you're on a bed of nails, and it's actually incredibly relaxing. So I'm using 2 bolsters here. This is not the ideal setup. The ideal setup is using all bricks, but you might not have 5 bricks. But if you have 3 bricks, a bolster, and a blanket, you can do the setup that I'm showing. So that means your hips are on the bolsters. You've got 2 bricks, 1 for each shoulder blade. They're pretty close together. And you can see I roll the buttock away from my low back towards my knees. I get some traction there in my low back. So my shoulders come onto the 2 bricks. And then the last brick is for my head, and it has a blanket on it for comfort. So the tailbone's in, the buttocks flowing towards the heels, and the legs lengthen out there to straight, arms to the sides. So the shoulder heads turn out. Now, for me in this position, I'm not quite settled there yet, and I probably need to make that blanket a little bit lower because you can see my chin is a little low. But I did not find this at all satisfying for what I'm accustomed to. I like the 5 bricks better, so I'm going to show that next. But you may find that this is just fine for your body, and it does take a moment to settle in. You can see how I'm still adjusting to allow the shoulders to fall back. But what this pose allows for is a real release. There, I'm finally getting rid of that blanket, and that's much better. But it allows for a real true release in the abdomen and length in the side body, and it can be a very, very peaceful way to end your practice. So now we're going to take a look at the 5 bricks. So you can see that I've kept the 2 bricks for the shoulder blades, the 1 brick and blanket for the head, and I'm just adding in 2 more bricks, 1 for each side of the buttock. So getting in is a little bit more interesting because you're balancing there on those 2 upright bricks. You lengthen the buttock away, but it's fine. You walk your hands to the side, get those other 2 bricks on your shoulder blades, and the brick under your head. Now again, just continue to watch here so you can choose your setup. And you can see now that my pelvis is more supported because the bricks are just firmer, and that's really the only difference. However, firm support is important. But you can see now my body is set up properly. The chest has a lift, the shoulders fall back, the chin is spacious so my throat is not cramped or gripped. So now you decide what's going to work best for you and set yourself up in one of these 2 renditions of Bhekasana. And again, if you don't have the proper props, then just be in Shalabhasana. It's just fine. Just lie flat on the floor, tuck the shoulder blades down the back, keep the low back long. But if you can support on these bricks or on the bolsters, you'll find that this pose very much can aerate the inner body by opening the frontal groin deeply, by releasing and relaxing the abdomen, by making space into the side body, all the way into the armpit chest so that the neck can be passive and soft. And then again, feel how the exhales can draw the consciousness more and more deeply inward, consciously releasing and letting go here. Notice the length of the exhalation, surrendering the neck, the throat, the tongue. Maintaining space in the mouth, maintaining a lift in the upper palate. Soften the skin across the face, particularly the skin across the forehead and between the brow. Feel how the consciousness again swirls back in towards the center of you. The arms and the legs flowing away from the body like 4 great rivers. And the consciousness coming right back into the center chest, the seat of the self there. As the inner gaze rolls downward into that same space. Surrender completely and entirely. And as we begin to approach the finality here of this pose and of this sequence, listen carefully as to how you come out of Bhekasana. Because first, you want to bend your knees and put your feet flat on the floor. Press the feet down and gently lift the hips up, removing the bricks or the bolster, and bring the hips to the ground. Then you just use your hands to come back up to sitting. Sit there in Swastikasana for a few moments. Namaskar. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.